Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and well, this is my first reaction type video with my new setup, and I thought, what better video to make than a RWBY one? So, earlier today, there was the RTX at home panel for RWBY. I wasn't able to watch it because, well, I was asleep at the time, but I did hear that we got a new teaser trailer. Not an actual trailer, but an extra 45 seconds of content. I also heard there were a couple of interesting semblance discussions, and that all of the RWBY girls had their birthdays revealed. Now I'm just getting up the birth dates of Team RWBY. We know that RWBY, she was born October 31st. So we've known that since RWBY Chibi. I think it was Volume 2. When they had the Halloween episode. May have been season 1, I don't know. Weiss, her birthday is May 15th. That was revealed today. Blake's is January 19th. She's the oldest of the Team RWBY. And Yang's is July 28th. Now, there's not really much to go off of that. It doesn't reveal anything really about characters or that. I just thought it interesting to note that we now know when each of their birthdays are, so likely this year we'll be, this coming year, we'll be seeing all those happy birthday character that we normally see for other series. The next thing that was revealed was answers revolving around two people's semblances, these being Arthur Watts and James Ironwood. Now Arthur, he doesn't actually have his semblance unlocked. He figured it was beneath him in sorts to focus on that when he could be focusing on his inventions and his science and all that. So he never actually bothered learning to unlock his semblance. James, on the other hand, he does have a semblance. It's called Metal, METTLE, not like what half his body is, but yeah, basically it allows him to hyper focus on one specific topic, goal, and no matter what, he will work towards that goal regardless of what stands in his way. It's a passive semblance, so we sort of saw it in action every now and then when we actually see him, because he's just pushing towards the communication tower before telling anyone. Just how dead set and hyper focused he was on that was a good example. Him just pushing through the pain of having his arm seared by the hard light dust to stop Watts and protect Amity Coliseum is another example. And we actually see the negative effects of this in the third teaser. I did get spoiled. Like, the first thing I did when I opened the iPad was try and close Instagram, but it didn't really work. The first thing was the good 5 to 10 seconds of it, so I thought, well, rather than doing a full reaction, because I've already seen part of it, I'll do a breakdown of all 3 of them together, because I didn't do reactions to part 1 or part 2. So I actually I downloaded all 3 parts from Murder of Bird's YouTube channel, because he has each segment, and I edited them all together. And in total they make 1:56 of content, but I'll try and pause it after each one and then do a little analysis on it. Okay, so this was the first one. Hang on, I forgot to turn the audio on. This was the first one. This has been
Alright, the others are definitely missing out.
And, yeah, this was just showcasing the cover art out. And that was what we got for the first one. Like I said, it was just showcasing the hover bikes. It showed what I'm referring to as Team 1 opening the garage and then taking the bikes, leaving there. Team 1 is Ren, Yang, Oscar and Jean. I was going to try and figure out a name to call them, but I forgot. So, well, obviously I don't have a name, but we see Yang using her biking skills to just do a flip, just up a ramp, on a wall, and then full flip over. And then Jean, all excited, until he goes over the tiniest bump and he's just like, yep, no, not taking my hand off the handlebars anymore. And Red's just shaking his head at him. Okay, so this has been out for months. There's not really a lot to analyze, so let's get on to number 2. This one came out a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less familiar with this.
Only take what you need.
I think I've only
The
seen
crater?
it twice.
Are you sure it's safe out there?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Heads up! Way better than a hover bike.
Okay, and that was the second one. So it starts off, it's entirely Team 1 again. It starts off with Rain shooting out a security camera, likely to stop Ironwood and that from being able to see where they're evacuating to try and stop them. It shows Oscar alerting people, knocking on doors, getting them to leave their houses and everything. They're all communing at the end of the block, while Jean's doing this adorable handshake with one of the kindergarteners. Then we get one of the thirsty mums, and I'm assuming it's hers and the ladies next to her's kid, asking Yang, the crater, are you sure it's safe? Now, I'm not sure where the crater is, whether it's where like Crow Crow's ship went down, or some other place that either we've seen or heard about before, or maybe not. But Yang's just assuring them that it's safe before being interrupted by a couple of sabers. And honestly, my favorite part about this trailer is, well, John, his little shield grenade. It's always just been he's the shield guy, and to give him a grenade that rather than explodes and kills things, creates a shield, sort of like he's very much turning into an Overwatch character. He's got Reinhardt's shield, he's got Orissa's projectile shield now. But yeah, he throws it, it creates an arc shield in front of the sabers, and then Ren just drops down on top of them before the shield folds up, and he kicks it to a magnetic charge on John's shield. I'm not sure if that's an update or he always had a magnetic part of it since the Atlas, but yeah, he can now or maybe it's just linked to these devices, but he can now magnetically attract small metal objects, which I think is very fitting considering the shield, how it's still inlaid with Pyrrha's circlet, to be able to use polarity. I think it's very fitting. I just realized that now. And he's just like way better than a hoverback. Okay, now on to today's one.
Atlas is only Salem's current target. She's not hiding anymore, and once she's done here, she'll move on to the rest of Remnant. We need to warn them!
There are people here who need us right now.
But this isn't about just Atlas. It's about all of Remnant.
You're still worried about Mantle? Salem will destroy Atlas, and with it, any hope humanity has left.
RWBY, Volume 8.
I have questions for you. But first I need the one who can show me how.
And yeah, that was today's one. So it starts off with RWBY voiceovering Salem's whale arriving again. She said she's not hiding anymore. Once she's done with Atlas, she'll move on to the rest of the world. And it shows Salem in this throne. Now, this is most likely on the back of the whale, judging by the spikes and that. Though, where on the whale, I can't be sure. It might be on this might be where the blowhole is meant to be, which would make sense with the circular pattern. But something I wanted to point out is that this almost looks like it's a charging pad of sorts. Like maybe her magic isn't as unlimited as we thought. Like she can use her powers for a certain amount, then she has to recharge and all that. So if Ozpin had one, he wouldn't be as low on magic as he is. Then it shows Yang running through the streets as RWBY says we need to warn the rest of the world. And then we've got a shot of Team 1 in Pietro's office. You can tell that because of the day since last, I forget what the word was, but that sign's now on the ground. he says there are people here who need us now, and it shows the hoverbike speeding after what I can only assume is a flying Berengal. But something I noticed is we have Yon here, we have Ren here. This is Yang. There's no Oscar behind her. And the fact that they're chasing after this flying Grim, I reckon that Grim has snatched up Oscar. Sort of like how the Winged Monkeys took the, well, it was the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, but they took him to the Wicked Witch. I reckon this flying Berengal, or a different one, and they're just following this specific one, is taking Oscar to the Wicked Witch of Salem. Then we have that was Oscar saying there are people that we here that we need to protect. Then we have Nora saying this isn't just about Mantle and Atlas, it's about all of Remnant. It shows Sabers and Terexes flying into the street, or heading into the streets through the hole in the wall, chasing after Yang on her hoverbike. I can't see Oscar because the pixels aren't big enough, but maybe he's still there. Maybe she's leading this Terax to where the rest of her team is so they can take it out. Then we've got a shot of what I'm calling Team B, which is the rest of the students. So Blake, Nora, Weiss, Penny and Ruby getting ready to battle. They're in some sort of high-tech Atlas facility. You can see all the tech behind them. But Penny doesn't seem like she wants to fight. She's more confused as to why they're all squaring up in that. So I reckon maybe they're facing the Aesops. Like, Penny's like, I know they're high rank, they're trying to capture you, but why are you trying to fight them? It's not like you've done anything to personally hurt them, except for the fact that they beat the shit out of them. Then we've got Ruby hugging Penny. This is probably right after where we left off for Volume 7, though Weiss is on the other side of Ruby, not beside Penny. Then we have what I'm calling the downside of Ironwood's semblance, where he's saying, you're still worried about Mantle? If Salem takes out Atlas, hope for the world is gone. Which, again, I can still understand where he's coming from, because up there they have the best scientists, the only ones capable of turning Amity into a communication tower to alert the rest of the world. And also, if she destroys it, then most likely she'll be able to get the relic. But he's still so hyper fixated on getting Atlas, only Atlas, away from Salem, because it's Remnant's only hope. When, I mean, they've still got a full combat school in Vacuo. He's still too hyper focused. His semblance isn't allowing him to see that they have other options. Also, fun thing to note is his arm here. I'm not sure whether this is a cast or whether he's just been just fucking chop the arm off, give me another robotic one. It's not like it'll be my first, because he's not in the sling anymore. Now yes, Aura, when it recharges, helps expedite the healing process, but with what happened to his arm, he shouldn't be out of his sling for after just a couple hours. Especially not with his aura having been completely broken. To have given him that, he hasn't had time to rest and recharge his aura, so yeah, just 1 second. And yeah, he's meeting up with the Aesops, who also seem to have been in their own sort of medbay. So likely either Atlas personnel found them after they were bodied, or Team RWBY and that took the time to take them to somewhere where they can get help. I don't know. Also, another thing I just noticed is James has both of his guns here, which we haven't. He lost one in Amity, so he didn't have it when he went back to his office, so obviously he's made another trip to Amity. We see, this is why I think they were squaring up against the Aesops, because this sort of looks like a similar facility. So it could be like a panning shot showing Team RWBY getting ready to, like, turning around, getting their weapons drawn, and then it pans round to show that the Aesops are standing there. Or this could be the prison where Crow and Robin are being held. Or then we see Cinder, and as he's saying, if she takes Atlas, she takes any hope we have of saving Remnant. As Salem's walking towards the camera holding the Relic of Knowledge, and yeah, and so next we see Penny activating her maiden powers again. Don't know why, but it's even a lot better quality than what she was in. Like the coloring of her face, even the eye flames, they're a lot better quality, in my opinion, than they were at the end of Volume 7. Next, and then we get the final scene, where Salem's going, I have questions for you. She's obviously talking to the Relic of Knowledge, because she says, but I don't know how to ask them. I have questions to ask you, but first I need the one to show me how, as she holds the relic up to what I can only assume is like a bloodhound grim. Like, it sort of looks like a Beowulf mouth, but it doesn't have the Beowulf bone plating that we're used to. It doesn't even show eyes, and the teeth seems to run up and then down the neck. But likely this is led into my thinking that the Berengals take Oscar to Salem, or maybe they take Ruby, because both of their scents would be very heavy on the lamp. Or maybe it'll track down Neo, but because she was the last one to wear it. But yeah, then it says November 7th is the release date. But yeah, I've listed all of the people that are relevant to the plot into different teams. We've got Team 1, which is the Mantle team. They're evacuating the city, and that's Yang, Yon, Ren, and Oscar. We've got Team 2, which I'm calling the Atlas team, based on the fact that we see them in an Atlas facility. And that's Ruby, Weiss, Penny, Nora, and Blake. We've got Team Atlas, not to be confused with the Atlas team. And this is the remaining Aesops in Ironwood. We've got Team Villain, being Salem and Cinder. And then we've got Team Not Seen, and this is Pietro, Maria, Winter, Crow, Robin, May, who has been said she'll have a bigger role this arc, well, this season, volume, whatever. Fiona, Joanna, Watts, Jacques, Tyrion, Neo, any of the other villains, so Hazel, Emerald, Mercury, I think that's all of them actually, but yeah, all of those characters weren't shown. Now either this is alluding to potential massive plot spoilers revolving around them, like I entirely reckon that the Atlas facility that Team B, well, Team Atlas, the Atlas team, is breaking into is going to be the prison that Crow and Robin are being held at. And, well, they'll have to try and free Robin and Crow, and quite possibly the Happy Huntresses. We don't know if they got arrested as well. They might have, but... And then the Aesops will A, be beaten again, but B, they'll have to come up face to face with Crow. And I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go down, because on one hand, they may not know that Clover's dead. On another hand, they may think that Crow was the one who killed Clover with the whole, it was his sword found with Clover's blood all on it. And they may not believe him when he says that Tyrion is the one who killed him, because of everything that happened with Clover being more focused on capturing Crow than stopping a known killer, psychopath, etc. And I reckon this is now leading into my predictions for this season. Number 1, we're going to have there's going to be more death. That's pretty much given, whether it's collateral damage or named characters. There's going to be more people dying. Possible candidates are Ironwood, any of the other Aesops, Winter, any of the Happy Huntresses, barring May. I have reasons for that I may go into at a later point, but I don't reckon May's on the tables for death flags, but Fiona and Joanna maybe. So that was I reckon there's going to be another student die. The likelihood is it's going to be a Juniper death again. So either Jon, Ren, and Nora. Now, I don't reckon it'll be Jon. He's making it to the end of the season. He's going to be the one to take out Cinder. But Ren and Nora still have their death scenes that they'll probably have to go through because of the whole Juniper death theory. So Pyrrha got taken out ultimately by the arrow to her ankle. Her Achilles tendon. She couldn't stand and fight anymore, and so she was killed, which is what happened to Achilles. Jean is going to take out Cinder. She's probably going to combust, which takes him out in fire. Then we've got Nora, Poison, Tyrion. Thor in Ragnarok was, well, not the movie, in actual Ragnarok, was killed when the world serpent bit him. He killed the serpent, but only made it a few steps before the poison killed him. I reckon that Nora, very high chance that she's going to die by Tyrion's hand. Well, tail, but that leaves Ren. I don't know how they're going to do this because Milan committed suicide, I'm pretty sure, so I'm not sure if they're ever going to show that in or reference that in this show, but so don't reckon he's going to die. So I reckon Nora, as much as I hate it, she's on the cards to die. So Ironwood, any of the Aesops, Winter, any of the Happy Huntresses barring May or Robin, Nora, and possibly a villain. I reckon that as much as I would love for Crow to be the one to take out Tyrion in retaliation for what happened with Clover, I reckon that Tyrion is going to tie into Nora's backstory, which we're getting this volume. We were meant to get it last volume, and they said stuff they didn't have time for last volume will be put into this one. So it should be Nora's backstory. I reckon Tyrion killed her parents. He's going to let that slip. She's going to go into a massive rage. He's going to tear through her aura and poison her as she kills him. And that plays into the whole death of Thor. But I also reckon that Ironwood's going to go down defending Atlas from Salem, whether it's now or at the end of the series. He's going to die defending the people. That's his whole arc. He is incorruptible and dead set on defending the people. He just goes about it the wrong way. These two are just cannon fodder at this time. Winter, I'm not sure about. Willow, I reckon she's going to die protecting Whitley. Like, the Grimm are going to march into Schnee Manor, and she's going to go down summoning all these massive summons from her time as a huntress, and she's going to go down getting Klein to take Whitley away from the scene. I reckon that's going to be her endpoint, and it's going to start the whole, I don't want to say redemption because he has no reason to be redeemed. Like, yeah, he was a little shit, but that's understandable given his backstory. I reckon it's going to paint his mother in a more favourable light and let him open up to his sisters. So that's going to be a driving force. as much as I'd love for Jacques to die, I reckon it's going to be more fitting when Tyrion comes and they do their whole prison break for Watts, and as Tyrion and Watts pass by Jacques' cell, Jacques' gonna be pounding on the window like, hey, let me out, and they'll be like, nah, and then they'll leave. I also want to say that the whole Roman numeral theory is going to happen, but with how short a time frame there is, I don't. As much as I'd like it to happen, it's highly unlikely with how short a time. Though it may be in the very last episode, because this is the longest season over the shortest amount of time. With, I think it was 14 episodes, the last and longest being 13. They're also going to be longer in length, as in time, and they're over 2 days. So, longest season, longest episodes in like runtime total, shortest time frame, which is going to be spectacular. But yeah, as for plot theories, I reckon that now this is going to be a bit controversial, but given that Penny's soul is affixed with the maiden powers, and well, that proves she's a real girl with a real soul. I would just love it if, in a chance to protect the heroes, just somehow Pietro just instinctively just fires out like a one-time thing. It burns through the rest of his aura, but just a one-time thing just launches like a maiden level fireball or whatever element he wants, just to buy the hero's time, because I reckon he's going to go down soon as well. Well, basically I reckon it's a free-for-all with... It's easier to list off the characters I don't think will die than it is to list off all the characters that I think may die. Because Team RWBY's safe. They're making it to the end. They may not make it to the end completely as they are now, as in losing limbs or eyes or other appendages. I reckon Crow's making it. I reckon Penny's making it. Cinder's probably making it to that final battle. Neo. Salem and Oscar, obviously. But yeah, I don't reckon Maria will make it much longer. She's gonna go down fighting as well. But yeah, I reckon that Maria, she's gonna go down fighting. It'll be in the prison break. And I reckon that Crow's gonna blame himself for her death. If she wasn't coming to save him, then his idol wouldn't have gone down. I reckon she's gonna be like, no, you idiot, I chose to come and save you. I would have done this for anyone, and I probably would have gone down for anyone. This had nothing to do with you, other than the fact that it just happened to be you that we're saving. And she's going to pass on her karma to him for him to have a shorthand weapon as well. Because he's got his scythe, which is mid-range. He's got his big-ass sword. That's not shorthand. But a Karma on a Maria-sized walking stick, that is very much. Plus it adds dust into his arsenal, which he's now the only one who doesn't have dust capabilities. Yeah, I just realized that. But he'll have some gravity dust. I could do a whole video on how I think each character is going to die, which characters are going to make it through the season, but like the series, but basically the only 100% safe are Team RWBY. Like, at the end, Salem's going to be defeated, we know this. There's a 99% chance that Salem's going to be defeated, which means Ozpin will also be taken from the world by the gods. So, he's not going to survive. Salem won't survive because she'll be taken from the world by the gods. It's questionable as to what the state of Oscar will be at the end, depending on how merged he is mentally with Ozpin and how intrinsically linked their souls are, because removing Ozpin may remove Oscar as well. But yeah, basically the only 100% safe people are Team RWBY. And even that's not 100%. That's a 99% chance because they may die in the final battle if you believe some of the theories. But yeah, I'm gonna end this here because I could ramble on for another hour about what I think could happen in this series. What I think is gonna happen, I'd say maybe that much of it will actually happen out of the more than I can show on screen that I reckon may happen, because some of my points contradict themselves, but it's not my show, so I have no say over what happens. And if something that I want to happen happens, I'll be happy. If something I don't want to happen happens, I'll be upset because, well, I didn't want that to happen, whether it be a character I like died or just a series of events that doesn't gel with me. Again, not my show. But this has been a passive-aggressive dig at the majority of the fandom, so I'm gonna catch you in the next one.